It's day 3 of the 75th Dusi, and once again the weather gods are putting on a display. Everyone wants a piece of the action. And this striped fellow is up early to get the best view. Running repairs are needed after 2 grueling days for the crews, but coffee is always a lifesaver. And here are the leaders of the men's race, Andy Burkett and Matt Fenn, closely followed by the second-place team of Sibanelo Quella and Msawe Ntolo. There's an air of intense concentration on display. Here's Saskia Hockley getting ready for her day. And here comes the chopper bearing the great Oscar Chalupsky. More from Oscar later, but first let's look back on some of the highlights of day 2. Burkett and Fenn had a 23-second lead over Quella and Ntolo in the men's race, and they went hammer and tongs at each other all day. Here's the unexpected error from Solms and Groening at the first put-in. And that was all that the second-place women needed in the form of encouragement. In the men's race, Quella and Ntolo took the lead for the first time early in the race, while the women's race was really joined at this portage. The Unkamani Hill portage was a key moment in the men's race. The savage uphill climb took its toll on Quella and Ntolo, and Burkett and Fenn caught them at the top of the hill. The ladies' race was truly joined on the flat water of the Inanda Dam. And this was also where Burkett and Fenn opened up what would be a significant lead of 6 minutes and 20 seconds over Quella and Ntolo. There was absolutely nothing in it between third and fourth. It was equally close in the women's race, with Mackenzie and Hockley having the better of the day to gain a 1.5-second advantage going into day 3. Amy Hewlett and Sarah Jones were almost an hour back in third. And so we move into day 3 of the 75th Dusi, which covers 35 kilometres, beginning at the Mcincy Resort on the Inanda Dam. The paddlers race 4 kilometres to the dam wall for the first portage of the day, a short one that takes them to Tops Needle. The river winds through more tough sections at Side Shoot, Umzanyati and then Little John, a rocky stop where it's not unusual for paddlers to take a swim, so much so that these days it's normally called Big John. There's a hairpin bend at Mulwaney, and the paddlers have to choose their routes very carefully on the other side. The Five Fingers Rapid has hidden depths amongst the white water, and the last big obstacle is at House Weir. The bravest paddlers will shoot the weir. Others will opt for a portage. Once through Pump House, there's a 10-kilometre stretch, and as they race under the N2 bridge, they can see the finish at Kingfisher Canoe Club on Blue Lagoon. Oscar Chalupsky was a VIP visitor to the start on day 3. He's dedicated his life to paddling, but a few years ago was diagnosed with incurable cancer. Oscar raced the Dusi with the likes of Baby Jake Latlala, Dr. Kamalo and Nas Porter, and he tells us what's unique about the race.
Well, the Dusi is so special that it's so unique. I mean, there's the only other race around the world is in New Zealand, which is coast to coast, where you're running and paddling. And the uniqueness is you're in the wild, you know. It's a river that isn't used that much. It's not used much for drinking, and there's basically, this is the only dam. And when I did it, there was no dam here, so those years. So it's lovely to bring people through the valley and to see this pristine area. It's magnificent. I mean, I've spent all my life around here from a very young age, and still been involved. And really, it is a magnificent race, and it's a tough race. People don't realise they always compare the comrades with the Dusi. And as Bruce Fordyce, one of the guys I took down, he says, no, the Dusi is 10 times harder because you can break your boat, you can wrap your boat. And it's tough, you know, it's just not flat road, you know, it's up and down, and it's a tough race. So it's a really test of somebody's endurance. That's what makes it really special.
The leaders of both the men's and women's races are out on the water together. And shortly after Burkett and Fenn begin the 4-kilometre sprint to the dam wall, racing begins in earnest in the women's race. There's a multiple Dusi winner in either boat, Abby Solms and Christy Mackenzie. And perhaps Mackenzie will be the hungrier of the two, since although she's won the last 4 K1s, she's never won the K2 Dusi. The men's race is wrapped up, according to the pundits, but Andy Burkett and Matt Fenn are taking nothing for granted, despite a 6-minute lead over the second-place crew of Sabanelo Quela and Msawe. The weather on all 3 days has just been perfect. Perhaps a little too hot on day 2, but things were cooled down overnight, with good rain falling in the Shongweni area. This is the dam wall on the Durban side. And first to the portage are Burkett and Fenn. It's a short run here, over the top and down to the bridge. But even so, you can see what Oscar Chalupsky meant about how tough this race really is. Lots of people can run, but can they run with a canoe on their shoulder? Can they do it after a sprint on the dam? Lots of supporters and seconders have gathered at the bridge to watch the race. This area is known as Top's Needle, and after an excellent put-in, we see the first white water of day 3, as the leaders leave the flat water of the dam behind. They won't see flat water again until the finish at Blue Lagoon, and there are plenty of potential banana skins along the way. Burkett and Fenn looking strong through the rapids, and with a real chance to repeat their win of 2024. Back to the ladies' race we go, and here they are approaching the end of the sprint to the dam wall. You can see how close they are. They can literally talk to each other. And they were probably doing exactly that as they reach dry land and sprint up the track to Top's Needle. It's at moments like these when Robin Hrunning may ponder on whether she made the right decision to stop competing on a horse and get into a canoe instead. She took some time off after finishing her 3-day eventing career, but a couple of years ago decided it was time to get back into competition, and here she is. And as they get back into the river, the first sign of daylight between the two teams, it's Solomons and Hrunning who get going first, underlining their dominance at the put-ins on day 1, a dominance that gave them a lead back then of 2 minutes and 22 seconds. These sections of the river are not for the faint-hearted, and full concentration is needed. Mackenzie and Hockley certainly look at home on the rapids. In 2022, Mackenzie moved back to Durban after spells in Cape Town and Johannesburg, and this saw her spending way more time paddling in the ocean. And she says it's something that has upped her game considerably. She says, "I've increased my skill level so much in big and challenging waves that river paddling almost seems easy now. I can see that the ocean paddling has made the world of difference." Making ground on the leading women are Quela and Mtolo, second in the men's race. Quela said after day 2 that he thought their chance had gone to overtake Burkett and Fenn, but there's still a lot that can happen. And once again, it's easy to forget that there's a race underway when you can just drink in views such as these. Burkett and Fenn have reached Mzanyati, and they're showing all their expertise here, making a tough section look straightforward. The women's race is still fascinating as they reach Mzanyati. Solomons and Hrunning have a lead of about 2 lengths over Mackenzie and Hockley. You can see the power of the river here, exacerbated somewhat by the rains that fell last night, not just in the Shongweni area, but all over the Midlands catchment that supplies water to the coastal towns and cities of KwaZulu-Natal. Now it's down to 1 length, and the people who have fought their way to the banks of the Dusi must be loving this. Here's the second boat in the men's race, and those children probably know all about the local heroes, Quayler and Mtolo. Quayler, in the rear of the boat, is the record holder of the non-stop Dusi, winning the marathon an unprecedented 9 times. The lead men have maintained their overnight advantage of 6 minutes, and now they're approaching the bridge at Little John. Look at the controlled rhythm of the 2 men, with the oars entering the water at exactly the same time. And see the way they navigate through the rocks. No panic, just letting the river do the work. And here's an interesting tactical decision. The faster side is on the left, but they choose the relatively calm water on the right side. Now we catch up with the women approaching the bridge, and still only 2 lengths between the teams. Saskia Hockley must be loving this. She's also benefited from work on the ocean. With her life-saving background, she won the Mixed Doubles Championships in October last year at the ICF Canoe Ocean Racing World Championships with Matt Fenn, also in the boat. It was Hockley's 5th World Championships medal in her 5th Ocean Racing World Championships, so she knows how to win. There's a tactical decision to be made coming up. Let's see what they do. And here we are, the same rapid that Burkitt and Fenn went right. Solms and Hrunning split to the left, where the water is faster, while Mackenzie and Hockley choose the easier ride. Will it be a significant decision? And now you can see that the decision by Solms to take the faster track has paid off. She and Hrunning have a good lead for the first time all day. It's about 30 seconds in total. But Mackenzie and Hockley know that they probably have the edge when they get to Blue Lagoon, so it's a case of staying in touch. Again, notice the rhythm of the paddlers. They may be weary, but they're still perfectly in time with each other. The second men's boat has overtaken the ladies now. And here are Solms and Hrunning about 50 metres behind Quayler and Mtolo. Up ahead, Burkitt and Fenn look weary but confident as they approach House Weir. This is the last major obstacle before the descent to Blue Lagoon. They could opt to do a portage with the amount of time they have to spare, but Burkitt is never one to shirk a challenge. Here they go over the first part of the weir. This is the easy part. The calm before the storm. And now, hang on to your hats. There's now a 7-minute gap to the boat in second, but Quayler and Umtolo are keen to finish strongly. Here's how to do it. No panic. And at the same section, here comes the lead women's boat with Hockley and Mackenzie. They've opened up a lead after Solms and Hrunnik took a swim, and so they can afford to take the conservative route at Pump House. They will portage and not shoot the weir. They're getting advice from these seconds on the riverbank, and they decide to take it. So, they take the small obstacle, but then head for the bank. It's a short portage, but it could cost them more than a minute. The first day leaders don't have the same luxury. Abby Solms has been here before, winning the K2 for the first time in 2016 and then doing it again in 2024 alongside Epworth matric pupil Jessica Ben. Jessica this year has teamed up with Jenna Goddard. For Robin Hrunnik, however, in just her second doozy and her first in real contention, she must be loving tapping into the experience of Solms. So here they are at Pump House. They have to be brave. And they are. But will it be enough? The third men's boat has arrived at Pump House. And here are a couple of very interested spectators, fish eagles, looking for breakfast.
No one has ever done what Andy Burkett is going to do today.
Quite right. So, Andy Burkett has done it. His 16th doozy win relegates the great Graham Pope Ellis to second place in the all-time charts. Pope Ellis completed the doozy 46 consecutive times between 1965 and 2010, winning it 15 times. Completed his final doozy in 2010, and fittingly, that was the race which saw Burkett win for the first time. Burkett now has 9 K2 titles with 7 different partners. Meanwhile, out on the lagoon are Quayler and Umtolo, runners up again to Burkett and Fenn.
Yeah, there was probably more water than we thought today. We were catching water as we were busy racing, so that sort of changed our plan as we were busy racing, sort of trying to find lines that were safer, and we decided to shoot Island on the left, which was bigger than I had anticipated. I said to Matt after, that wasn't a good call, we should have portaged it. With a bit of a lead, you can easily break your boat or do something there. But it's also good just to back yourself and not take too many options where you're portaging too many things. When you're being too conservative, sometimes you make mistakes. I think we also just try to hit it hard today, get into a racing rhythm and not too conservative.
It's just so nice to be able to paddle with someone with so much experience. Like, every time I get carried away and I want to just go into the red zone, he says to me, no, I need to relax and focus on the end goal. So it's a big learning curve to paddle with someone like Andy, and a real privilege.
Yeah, it was an awesome race. Thoroughly enjoyed it. That's why I keep coming back to the doozy every year. Been really special racing with Matt. His passion and charge for this race keeps me honest. Tells me I'm an old man most of the time, but no, it's been great. And hats off to Spolelo and House Weir for pushing us the whole way, keeping us honest.
And here come Mackenzie and Hockley. They were behind for much of the day, but they finish the strongest. Christy Mackenzie has won the last 4 women's K1 Dusi titles, but she was desperate to break her duck in the K2. Her decision to team up with 22-year-old Saskia Hockley was key. It's the closest finish to the women's race in many years to clinch the title. Runners-up Abby Solomons and Robin Hrunic were pipped by just 68 seconds over the course of the 3 days.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most exciting Dusis and one of the most challenging Dusis I think I've ever done. It was cat and mouse the whole way. Like we took a safe line at Little John. They took main line and we lost some time there, so we were trying to catch. Then they swam, we caught up, and then we spun out at Island, they caught up, and then they swam at Island and we caught up, and it was just like back and forth like that the whole way. We had a little bit of a gap going into Camp House, so we decided to play it safe and portage, and they took the risk, and good on them. They made Pump House, and they came out just behind us when we were putting in. So yeah, we had about a 10, maybe 20 meter gap, and Saskia was like, now's our chance, let's go. We put in like a 2K time trial, and yeah, just went for it. Got a bit of a gap, and then third place men pulled them back to us. They jumped on third place men's wash. Sass and I didn't realize we were allowed to ride wash until they got back to us and told us, and then yeah, kind of squashed them onto halftime, and I think it was just hard for them to stay on halftime, and they ended up eventually falling off, and Sass and I hung on as long as we could, and yeah, eventually the guys dropped us at the end, and it was a hard slog into the finish line.
As Christy said, when they fell off the wave coming under the N2 bridge, I knew there was no ways they were going to come back onto that wave once they fell off. So the longer we stayed on that wave, the bigger the gap we would have for ourselves as a buffer. So I just kept Christy positive, she kept me positive, and we pushed all the way home.
So here are the final standings. Amy Hewlett and Sarah Jones were well over an hour back from the top 2 in 3rd position. Jessica Ben is a former winner in 4th, and Hilary Bruss gets 5th alongside Bridget Hartley in her 20th Dusi. Rounding up the men's race, it's a repeat of the top 3 from the 2024 K2 race. Burkitt and Fenn win by some 10 minutes over Sibanela Kwela and Msawe Mtolo, adding 4 minutes and 20 seconds to their overnight margin. In 3rd place come Bongani and Tinga and Msawe Mtolo, with Tabani Msia and Sianda Gwamanda a further 4 minutes back in 4th.